Hey guys, and welcome to Wacky Wednesday. My name's Mike, and this is Pongo, and today we've got a very interesting question, and we're actually going to be starting a series of questions all about heaven and hell. Because there's a whole bunch of questions about heaven and hell. Who made them? How do I get there? What is it like? Why do some people go to hell and others to heaven? All those questions. But today, we're going to be starting with, Pongo, do you know our question for today? That's right. Today, our first question is going to be, who made heaven and who made hell? And so that's our question for today. Who made heaven and who made hell? So, let's dig in. And we're in the Bible book of Revelation. It's the last book of the Bible, and it has the answer for us. Now, Revelation's a very cool book. It's got a whole bunch of hectic stuff happening. And this is actually a picture of what's going to happen right at the end of time when Jesus comes back. So we're in Revelation chapter 20, verse 11, and all the way through to Revelation chapter 21, verse 8. So I'm going to read it and explain it as we go. You ready, Pongo? Let's have a look. So it says this. This is John, who's having a dream and seeing all these things before he writes it down. And he says this. John says, I saw a great white throne and him who was seated on it. Whose throne do you think that is? That's Jesus' throne. So there's a big throne and Jesus is on it. And the earth and the heavens fled. They ran away from Jesus because he was so amazing. And then John saw the dead, great and small, standing before the throne. So all the people who've ever died, all of them, they gathered in front of Jesus, in front of his throne. Okay, let's see what happens next. And then books were opened, and another book was opened, which is the book of life. So you've got some books, a whole bunch of books over there, then you've got another book. So what's in these books? And what's in this book? So there's one special book, and then a whole bunch of other books. What's in the books? Let's keep reading. The dead were judged according to what they had done, as recorded in the books. So in the big pile of books over here is all the stuff that everybody who's ever died has done. All their good things, all their bad things, all of it's in the book. So all the things I've ever done, it's in somewhere in there, it's in the book. All the things Pongo's done, it's in the book there. All the things you've done, Jesus has got it in a book. But then what's in the other book? Let's keep reading. Everybody who had died, whether they died in the sea or on earth, wherever they were all there in front of Jesus. And each of them was judged according to what they'd done, which was written in the books. And then death and Hades were thrown into the lake of fire. And the lake of fire is the second death. So that's hell, the lake of fire. That's one of the pictures of hell. So we've got this big burning lake of fire. Oh, scary. And then anyone whose name was not found written in the book of life was thrown into the lake of fire. Wow, that's hectic. Hey, see that there, Pongo? Yeah. So remember, over here you've got the books filled with what everybody's done. Then over here you've got the one book. The book that's different. The book that says who belongs to Jesus. And it's called the book of life. And if the person's name is in there, and they don't get thrown into the lake of fire, we'll see what happens to them now. So, who's in charge of hell? Who's in charge of the lake of fire there? Who's the one that sends people to hell? Is it the devil? No, we don't see the devil there. Who's seated on the throne? Who's the one on the big white throne at the beginning? Then I saw a great white throne and him who is seated on it. Who's that? That's Jesus. That's Jesus. Jesus is the one who's the judge, who sits on the throne. And everybody who's ever lived is before him. And he checks, he reads in the book what they've done. And he checks, is their name in the book of life? Have they trusted in him so that they can be forgiven? And if they haven't, then he reads what they've done, sees what their life was like, and he sends them to the lake of fire, to hell, where they'll get no more, no less, but exactly what they deserve. So who's the one that made hell? It's Jesus. It's Jesus. He's the one on the throne. He's in charge of hell. He made it. Not the devil. The devil didn't make hell. The devil, it says here, is going to be thrown into hell as well. So that's the answer to the first question. Who made hell? The answer is Jesus. And Jesus is the one who made it, and he's the one who's in charge of it. Hey, Pongo? Wow, that's a bit different to what we think, hey, Pongo? Yeah. What about heaven? Who's in charge of heaven? Let's keep reading. So that's hell. Jesus is in charge. He's on the throne. But now what about heaven? Let's keep reading. And then I saw, this is John saying, I saw a new heaven and a new earth. For the first heaven, the first earth had passed away, and there was no longer any sea. And I saw a holy city, a new Jerusalem, coming down out of heaven from God, prepared as a bride, beautifully dressed for her husband. And I heard a loud voice from the throne saying, Look! God's dwelling place is now among the people. He will dwell with them. They will be his people, and God himself will be with them and be their God. So this is saying God is going to make everything new. This world and heaven right now, it's all going to be kind of like Play-Doh, squished and then made new and better. So instead of now there's heaven and there's earth and there's heaven, it's all going to be squished and then put together. When Jesus comes back, it's all going to be a new heaven and a new earth, and that's a video for another time. But the one doing this is Jesus. He's in charge of it. He's in charge of earth now. He's in charge of heaven, and he's the one who made it and is in charge of it. And then it says this is how beautiful it is. It says, then God will be with his people. He'll be with his people. He's in charge of heaven because it's the place where God will one day be with his people. He made it, and it says he will wipe the tear from everybody's eyes, and there'll be no more mourning, no more crying, and no more pain, because all the old things will have been gone and everything will be new. So, who's in charge of hell? Who made hell? It's Jesus. He's the one on the throne. He's the king of heaven and of hell. He's the one who made it. He's the one who's in charge of it. And he's the one who decides who goes to hell and who goes to heaven. So, that's our answer for the first question. Who made hell and who made heaven? And the answer is Jesus. Jesus did. And he's the one who's in charge of it. He's the one who will have everybody stand in front of him, and he will send some to hell and some to heaven. That's our first answer. And I'm sure that makes a whole bunch of questions come in your brain. Well, how do I make sure I go to heaven instead of hell? What's hell like? What's heaven like? Keep watching, because we're going to have answers to all those questions in some more Wacky Wednesdays. But for now, that's all from me and all from Pongo, and I hope that you enjoyed it, and keep on sending through your questions, and we'll keep looking in our series at heaven and hell and answer all those questions. Awesome, that's all from me and from Pongo, and we'll see you guys next time. Bye!